Yo, 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 what is going on, IK Familia? It is your boy BN, aka Mr. Kingdom Builder. We are back again, giving you that goody two shoes Infinity Kingdom knowledge and information. That is what we are about, right? Giving you that super deep dive, lovey, high IQ goodness that hopefully y'all enjoy. Okay, today we're going to be talking about Server 97. Contention of Relics round 1 just ended. We're going to show you who won. We're going to talk about it. We're going to show you some interesting things that I noticed, and then let's give some projections, right? Some, not to say nobody needs to sit here and place a bet on it, but let's go over some things that are happening after we do some of this review. Before we get started, as always, make sure you guys sub, like, and of course ring that notification bell. Also, just so everyone knows, Eric has an U face. That's been confirmed. Someone said they subbed. He said, yeah, he's on the poster for COL, which was that COL icon that was before, and get some loving back and forth. What a good guy. Okay. Let's zoom out of the map. You can see here that red ended up winning, and then we'll dive in, and we're going to take a look, and we'll show you who currently is king. So Echo is the alliance that ended up taking king. We'll go over here to alliance power. You can see they were number 2. Right, pretty close. There was Z. If we look at Lord Power, Boss Baby ended up is still number 1 over here, right? And then you got the I guess it's R4. I thought it was actually the R6. Maybe they just use a similar PFP. And then again, right, Troop Power here. Echo, really high. P, let me see, Hope. Where's Jesse? Never mind. Javis is there at 16 at 135K. I'll be honest, I am somewhat shocked that some of these people are spending. I mean, even with Jez just going YOLO, just killing it. Boss Baby at 13 mil. Jezstar keeping it real, though, at 8.5 mil. Shout out to the boy Jez. Man, just so awesome. Also, a big shout out to TWK, right? Still hanging in there strong, right? Which is Worthy Prince's Alliance at 23. Respectable 7th place, especially amongst the... Gosh, what is it? The China, Asia number 1 chance, right? In the crowd. Okay, so let's do a little deep dive here, Contention of Relics. So we saw that's who won. Let's look at Lord Mayor, right? Boss Baby, Jezstar, and then this player here is the R4 for Echo, right? Top 3 going into most honor, right? Which is shocking. Jez was just doing work in COR, right? If anything, another huge shout out, as I'm sure... Right, he probably could have taken over that number 1 spot there from Boss Baby. But again, an awesome show. Now, all the Arcane Treasures have already been capped, again, as it did end on 10/20, so they've already had 2 days about for farming those up. Now, if we look at King, right, I think some interesting things here, and bear in mind that, right, the people here in 97 and onward are really getting their first dose of COR. And because of that, they may not know all of the features and the tools that can be utilized while having King. An example of this would be if you look at, right, here, some of these are. Again, they were very quick to provide these, and then I imagine these are troll moves by putting these on Z unless they're actually, meant for those on the negative titles, but I would just look at that as more of a kidding. We look at rewards. Now, this is interesting to me, and I want to point this out because, usually this, I guess it depends on how you want to look at it. I think my overall approach when it comes to one way that you can distribute rewards, and this is something that we like to do in 79, where whoever the winning faction, right, but keep in mind, you can only give rewards to the alliances in the winning faction. So what we'll do is we'll designate, right, based on participation, activity, from some of the leaderboard stats in COR. I wish they had more. And, like, for example, I wish you could see, like, who has the most energy cube tiles collected, right? Like, I wish they had a leaderboard stat for that, like, who's collected the most energy, right, throughout the event. That would be, I think, a fantastic stat that a lot of people would like. But with this, right, we break these up. So we try to distribute these by giving a percentage per each alliance, and then based on that percentage, maybe it'll be 2 goes to the number 1, 1 of these Gifted Warriors goes to the number 2, Red Alliance. And then maybe we'll get down to the end, and I can't remember if there's like 18, exactly how many there is here, but you'll then give however many, what is this, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, I think it's, what is it, 12? Yeah, it is 12, okay, never mind, that was a high number I gave. So there's 12 of these for these, right? And so maybe you'll give 5 to the winning, 4 to the second place, and 3 to third place, something like that, to that extent, right? But you share amongst the alliances within your faction. You can do an equal percentage if you feel like there's equal participation. You can do weighted percentages based on what you think the overall contribution is from players from each of the alliances within the winning faction, and just kind of adapt it like that. But here we're seeing that essentially all of the rewards we're just giving to the winning alliance. And this is one way to do it. Again, right, there's always multiple ways to distribute. That's just how we like to do it in 79, even though we're doing an equal faction rotation, other people who do equal faction rotations for COR, right, still might have different ways that they go about distributing. They might just say whoever wins it gets to give it to all their members, right? And then each time that you come up, you can give those to all your members as well. I often find that sharing it earlier shows a little more unity, and it shows people that you're willing to spread the wealth. That can also keep morale higher. It can keep people more motivated, knowing that the rewards are not just going to be going to one faction, that is the winning faction, but that you'll actually spread that, which can also increase overall participation for future CORs, therefore generating you more arcane treasures, therefore giving you more overall gold. Okay, enough with the masterclass boss. All right, now, orders. So they did pop some orders, and it looks like they have been, which is nice. I like how they just went for the immediate no limit migration condition, even though they got to wait for 90 days. Ballsy, kind of like it. All right, now looking at declarations, it doesn't look like they've sent out any of these. So I don't know if they're familiar with the declarations or the notices. That's kind of the one area. Even if you look at system messages, right, mails going back from 2 days ago, right, you can see that they've done notices, right, where they're kind of doing appointments, but there's no mails that have just been sent out yet. Maybe they will, but just not at the moment. With all of this in mind, right, giving you kind of my overall wrap-up on the event, again, it really, I think, is a lot simpler than some may think, right? There really wasn't a chance for any faction outside of Red to realistically have a good enough opportunity where they could have actually challenged Red and or even Green to an extent. When it comes to at least Blue, right, which is, for us kind of NA Canada, so to speak, NA Europe. And that was just because of the fact that just so many people came in from the region, in addition to us just knowing that a lot of players from Asia and just Asian-based regions or Asian-based countries, right, in these types of games, right, which is a trending history we've seen in other kingdom builders, they spend, right, just like other people would spend as well. And with that in mind, right, you can see, and I think it's even more than that. I mean, again, right, you're opening a game to a brand new region. You're going to get an influx of players that hasn't been seen since Server 9. Server 9, 10, 11, 12, arguably, right, which was when the game started getting released globally, or not globally, but released to its entry level or its initial countries at that time. And then you ended up seeing a big boom in traffic, similarly to what we saw with Server 97, right, 98, 99, 93 through 97, excuse me, 94, 95, 96, 94, 95, yeah, sorry, 94 through 97. I kind of got to remember that. And so, from there, I think everything we're seeing is just completely understandable. This is all kind of within expectations for what we saw, or I guess what we could have expected to happen on 97. With that in mind, I do like the event, right? There were some, I think, positive takeaways. I like how they had the global icon here. I like how they promoted it to everyone on the server. As I said, I think those are things that can be possibly utilized for SVSs eventually when that comes out, maybe other types of special events that they'll release on kind of one-off servers. The only thing that I would just say to be cautious of is that when you're releasing one-off events on servers, it does promote it, and it does, in a sense, have more potential for there to be a higher amount of players that go there. But depending on the event that's done, what you have to be careful of is how many people are going to stay right after the event is done and continue playing there, right, if the event is being God, I'm trying to think of the right word, right? If it's being, I don't want to say set up, but if it's being directed in more of a war style type event, like everyone knows that's essentially what this COL event was. Even though it didn't require you to fight anyone and just essentially win, or I should say fight anyone prior to COR starting, it did require for you to battle and go hard at COR. And and again, factoring in that the more cities you capture, the more bonuses you get for your alliance, especially the more higher level cities that you get, are bonuses for your alliance and your players going into COR, right? These are all directly related. And because of that, right, S97 really was by default, because of the event being put in place, up until COR 1 finished, really a war server. Even if it wasn't complete chaos all the time, that's really what the bar was being set for. And with that in mind, even though, yes, if people knew about it before, if they understood what the event was and how the server was going to play out, and they still chose to go there and spend money, of course, that is their choice, their decision. They can do whatever they want with their cash. But understanding of what's going to happen after, right, which is really the important part, right, because you don't want to make it seem like you're doing this event and then after that, the events after COR 1 are, less than enthusiastic to some. And that can be deflating. That can also be demotivating for people. So my thing is just be cautious, right? That's my recommendation, is be cautious when doing events. Even though I liked the event, I liked that it was something they tried. And they're not doing it on every server, right? They're kind of doing it on one-off servers, which I think is a great way to separate and isolate the way that you're going to test out these specific or these particular types of events, where it's not going to impact the whole of the game or the community. Again, I like that they promoted it. I like that anyone on the game could go and check in and tune in. I wish they would expand that a little bit more. It'd be cool if they had like a condensed version of, you can see the alliance power, the overall power. Maybe you can't click on anything, but if you could see some more stats, that would be really cool. Maybe even if there was like a world chat feed or something, maybe that could be cool. I guess it depends on how they would want to do that. Like I said, I thought the idea was great. I thought some of the ways that they implemented that you could view and spectate were great. I just think that the execution and the build-up, right, the level of promotion and marketing prior to it could have been better. And then I think the execution of it, right, in some ways could have been better. I think a lot of it is how you objectively look at it, right? Do you look at the event as it was, right, they came out, they tested it, they got a large influx of players to come to this server, so they know that if they do events like this in the future, there's a chance that it will garner more attention, and they'll probably get enough people on the server to where the event can play out in its entirety. Good. I think there's building blocks there. But if they're going to do something like this again, I think it would be nice if they really evened it out, right? The challenge is that when you're using content creators, right, each content creator has their own different amount of, different levels of following. Some creators might have 100K subs. Some people might have 10, 20, 30K subs. So the amount of players that would arguably go to one alliance over another, or even in this case one faction over another, will be different, and therefore will be a little bit of an imbalance. Or I should say more of an imbalance than there would be if maybe creators didn't necessarily, if it wasn't like a creator versus creator thing. I mean, sure, don't get me wrong, right? Anyone is going to promote it, and I'm sure even if they didn't have the creator promotion there, it still potentially would have been creators promoting, and you still would have got some of the, we're going this faction, we're going here, join our alliance here, join this alliance there. You still would have got all that. So again, I don't know exactly where the kind of fine line is, but I like I said, I think there's some good building blocks and takeaways from it. I just think overall, like I said, on the marketing, some of the execution I just think fell flat compared to, right, what it could have been. And I also address that in the same way of understanding that these things can be built on, right? So the next time they do an event, they can look at these things and these pieces of feedback and say, okay, building block was good. Let's switch it up and try some of these areas of improvement. Maybe see how the next event goes. But what I would really love to know from you all, what type of events do you think could actually work, right? If they were just doing it on these kind of one-off events, what do you actually think? What do you actually think would work? Right, in that sense, if it's something that right? If it's something essentially that you think would be anything, right? If it's COR1, if it's who can get to the most honor, if it's who can get to 100k troop power, maybe not that, because that just kind of focuses on spending, like nothing but spending. But maybe the honor thing, maybe, gosh, I don't even know. You know, maybe who can get to a high alliance power. I mean, even though it's kind of more or less the same thing. You know, maybe the first faction to kill like 100,000 gnomes or something, or forts, or I should say bosses. I mean, I imagine there's other things, right, that they can do. You know, that could be something as well. As far as some kind of a limited event idea, like they did for COR1. But let me know what you guys are thinking in those comments down below. That is it for me. I am out. Until next time, we will catch y'all later.